message. This was a leaked email from the Liberal Party of Canada that lays out the plan. It's LPC Strategic Committee leak inbox PC leaker, okay? This occurred on October 10th, 2020. Dear, and then it's a blank, it's X'd out because this was an email that was sent to somebody else to let them know, because the person that wrote this email was present, was there, firsthand heard this. I want to provide you some very important information. I'm a committee member within the Liberal Party of Canada. I sit within several committee groups, but the information I'm providing is originating from the Strategic Planning Committee, which is steered by the PMO. I think the PMO is that the Prime Minister of Canada? I think PMO must be, I don't know what PMO is. Maybe somebody can tell me what PMO is. Can you look up what PMO is in the Canadian Liberal Party? Okay. I need to start off by saying that I'm not happy doing this, but I have to. As a Canadian, and more importantly, as a parent who wants a better future, not only for my children, but for other children as well. The other reason I am doing this is because roughly 30% of the committee members are not pleased with the direction this will take Canada. But our opinions have been ignored and they plan on moving forward toward their goals. They have also made it very clear that nothing will stop the planned outcomes. So 30% of the Liberal Party in Canada that was sitting in this committee did not want to go along with this, and yet the powers that be are saying that they don't have a choice. Wrong answer. We always have a choice, all right? In the United States, we are still, the Second Amendment is intact, and in Canada, I know there's enough people out there that still have their weapons, no matter what they've tried to orchestrate and take your weapons away. Guys, just remember, when you are carrying, when you have your own weapons, now suddenly you are no longer easy fodder, and they're going to think once, twice, 3 times before they ever try to cross horns with you, okay? Because they don't want to engage with people. If they don't have anything that they can lose, then they may. So this is why it's so important to be prepared and expect the best, but be prepared for the worst. So here's what it comes down to. The roadmap and aim was set out by the PMO and is as follows. And I hate looking down when I'm reading this, so let me see if I can read it this way. All right. Phase in secondary lockdown restrictions on a rolling basis, starting with major metropolitan areas first and expanding outward. Expected by November 2020. Next one. Rush the acquisition of or construction of isolation facilities across every province and territory. Expected by December 2020. These are concentration camps they're talking about. Daily new cases of COVID-19 will surge beyond capacity of testing. Interesting that they already know that they're going to surge, right? Why? Because they know that if there is such a virus out there, assuming that there's a real virus out there, the testing is it's already predetermined. They're testing, they're attenuating, they're basically amplifying the RT-PCR test to the point that every human being will test positive. That's what their goal is. All right, so the new daily new cases of COVID will surge beyond capacity of testing, including increases in COVID-related deaths following the same growth curves, expected by end of November 2020. Complete and total secondary lockdown, much stricter than the first and second rolling phase restrictions, expected by end of December 2020, early January 2021. Reform and expansion of the unemployment program to be transitioned into the Universal Basic Income Program, expected by Q1 2021. Projected COVID-19 mutation and or co-infection with secondary virus referred to as COVID-21, leading to a third wave with much higher mortality rate and higher rate of infection, expected by February 2021. Daily new cases of COVID-21 hospitalizations and COVID-19 and COVID-21 related deaths will exceed medical facility capacities, expected by Q1, Q2 of 2021. Enhanced lockdown restrictions, referred to as third lockdown, will be implemented. Full travel restrictions will be imposed, including inter-province and inter-city, expected by Q2 2020. In British Columbia, you can't go to Quebec, all right? This is what they're talking about. And if you're in one city and you're trying to go into another city in the same province, they're not going to allow you to do that. This is in Canada. Of course, they're going to try to roll this out, and I'll get to that point here in a second. All right. Transitioning of individuals into the Universal Basic Income Program, expected mid-quarter 2, 2021. Projected supply chain breakdowns in inventory storage, large economic instability, all expected late second quarter 2021. Deployment of military personnel into major metropolitan areas as well as all major roadways to establish travel checkpoints, restrict travel and movement, provide logistical support to the area, expected by third quarter 2021. Along with that provided roadmap, the Strategic Planning Committee was asked to design an effective way of transitioning Canadians to meet an unprecedented economic endeavor, one that would change the face of Canada and forever alter the lives of Canadians. All right, guys, this is where it gets really disturbing, as if it's not already disturbing. What we are told was that in order to offset what was essentially an economic collapse on an international scale, that the federal government was going to offer Canadians a total debt relief. So people are getting excited about that. That's good. But wait, this is how it works. The federal government will offer to eliminate all personal debts, all mortgages, all loans, all credit cards, etc., with all funding will be provided to Canada by the IMF under what will become known as the World Debt Reset Program. In exchange for acceptance of this total debt forgiveness, the individual would forfeit ownership of any and all property and assets. In exchange for total debt forgiveness, the individual would forfeit ownership of any and all property and assets forever. The individual would also have to agree to partake in the COVID-19 and COVID-21 vaccination schedule, which will provide the individual with unrestricted travel and unrestricted living even under a full lockdown. So if you agree, you can go do anything you're doing as long as you partake in the COVID-19 and COVID-21 vaccination schedule, regardless of the lockdown. Magically you take this vaccine and boom, guess what? You don't have to social distance, you don't have to wear a mask anymore because you have already gotten your vaccines. All right? So this is unrestricted living even under a full lockdown through the use of a photo identification referred to as Canada's Health Pass. Committee members asked who would become the owner of the forfeited property and assets in that scenario, and what would happen to lenders or financial institutions. We were simply told the World Debt Reset Program will handle all of the details. So when they were asked what happens to the property and what happens to the banks, don't worry about it, we're going to take care of it. That's what they were told. All right, and now it gets really, really interesting. Wow. Committee members asked who would become, I read that. Several committee members also questioned what would happen to individuals if they refused to participate in the World Debt Reset Program or the Health Pass or the vaccination schedule. The answer we got was very troubling. Essentially, we were told it was our duty to make sure we come up with a plan, meaning the Liberal Party was told that it was their duty to come up with a plan to ensure that would never happen. We were told it was in the individual's best interest to participate. When several committee members pushed relentlessly to get an answer, we were told that those who refused would first live under the lockdown restrictions indefinitely, and that over a short period of time, as more Canadians transitioned into the debt forgiveness program, the ones who refused to participate would be deemed a public safety risk and would be relocated into isolation facilities. Once in those facilities, they would be given two options: participate in the debt forgiveness program and be released, or stay indefinitely in the isolation facility under the classification of a serious public health risk and have all your assets seized. As you can imagine, after hearing all of this, it turned into quite the heated discussion and escalated beyond anything I've ever witnessed before. In the end, it was implied by the PMO that the whole agenda will move forward no matter who agrees with it or not. That it won't just be Canada, but in fact, all nations will have similar roadmaps and agendas. That we need to take advantage of the situations before us to promote change on a grander scale for the betterment of everyone. The members who were opposed and ones who brought up key issues that would arise from such a thing were completely ignored. Our opinions and concerns were ignored. We were simply told to just do it. All I know is that I don't like it, and I think it's going to place Canadians into a dark future. So guys, now you know why I was hesitating to release this information, but now you also understand why it's so critical. Now, I want you guys to download these videos. This video in particular, download it. Why am I saying that? Because you know that in the next 2 or 3 days, you remember my first video when I got really mad when Next News Network ended up interviewing me. You remember what happened, right? 9.1 million views in 6 days, and they took everything down. So I anticipate that this could be very realistically the last time that you will be able to see me on Instagram or on Facebook or on YouTube. I have no idea. Maybe I'm wrong, but I wouldn't be surprised. But this is the reason that you need to do 3 things. 1, you need to download this video and make sure that you have it on your smart device, because they can't control that. Get it out to your friends and family. Let other people know. 2, become a relay. Let others know about this information. All right? You can share the video from your phone to phone, WhatsApp, whatever. Share it. Get it out there. And 3, make sure you subscribe down here, okay? Boom, right there. Because that's the only way that I can communicate with you guys. And please, if you get if you decide to subscribe, that's totally free. You don't have to pay anything for it. You can get access to the to the head map and all that stuff, and watch the webinars and stuff. But there is a paid version for the members, the type of members that we have this type of communication with. That is the IADFW. So just make sure that you understand there's 2 different things. But regardless, in order to maintain communication, please subscribe there, and then on the dashboard, which you have total free access to 100% for life, our plan is to have a way that there's a little bell underneath your name, and when that bell lights up, that means there's a message, and that way we don't have to worry about whether or not you got the email or if it's censored, because all you have to do is you log in. You may get an alert on your email saying that there was a message posted, and that's probably the only thing it's going to say, but then you can log in and actually see the message, all right? So that's what our goal is, to be able to facilitate communication. Now, I've read all this stuff, and I want everyone to vow right now that you are not going to be worried about this, because that's not what the reason that I read this, 1, and that's not why this information is coming into our power, into our awareness to scare us. Of course, that's what if they thought that it was going to scare us, they would have probably put the information out. But they don't want this information out. Why? Because they are afraid. They're afraid that it's going to wake us up. So this is not something to be fearful of. This is something to now know that you know clearly who you're dealing with. You know right in front of you what the opposition is playing at. You now understand that no matter what happens with elections and this and that, this is the New World Order agenda. So make sure you're prepared. Make sure you have just enough food and water that if something locks down, that you've got enough for a couple of weeks. Okay, this is an important thing. Now, I'm not saying that you need to do this today or tomorrow, but I would do it sooner rather than later. And the other thing, guys, make sure you are armed. Make sure that if you live in a free country, that in order to maintain your freedom, that you do what those forefathers had orchestrated from the get-go, which was the freedom to bear arms. So if you're Canadian, you're American, whether or not you agree with me or not, like, I hope I'm totally wrong. But you know what? I would rather be totally wrong and have a locked and loaded weapon next to me to take care of my family and defend myself, rather than being, I've got my head in the sand and I'm going to say nothing's going to happen, and I'm not going to worry about getting a gun or anything to protect myself. And when the bastards come in trying to railroad me, then what am I going to do? Throw spit wads at them? All right, so just be aware that this is something that everyone should take with the expectation of the best happening, but preparing for the worst, all right? So I really had mixed feelings about putting this out, but I know that this information was brought to me for a reason, and I would be remiss if I didn't share it with you guys and help you to prepare. And more importantly, just remember that they may be 30, 50, 100, 1,000, however many people that are orchestrating this, but there are a lot of military and police that are just pawns. They don't know any better. They're just following orders. So if you have connections with police, with law enforcement, if you have friends and family that are in law enforcement and military, there are already a lot of law enforcement and military in the United States and other parts of the world that have already stood down. In Ukraine they had this, in Germany they had this, in the US they had this, where they stood down. They would refuse to engage with the public. Let them know what's coming down, because those military people and those law enforcement people, they have families too. They're human beings as well, right? So remember, if they come and they say that we're going to forgive all your debt, let's see, we'll forgive all your debt, but then we're going to alter your DNA, and there's a massive chance that you're going to be miserable the rest of your life, if you have any life, assuming that you're not going to die. Because remember what the overall agenda, it's just go and look at the white papers, just look at what the eugenics agenda is, that the 7 point whatever 6 billion or 7 point whatever the world's population is right now is not sustainable, and they want to take the population down to 500 million people, 500 million people. So that means that a lot of people, 1 out of 15 people will be dead. That's what, 1 out of 15 people will be alive, 14 out of 15 people will be dead. And of course, that's one reason that, China, India, Africa, they're planning on getting rid of a lot of those people, because those are overpopulated areas. That's how they're thinking. That's not me saying it. That's the agenda. That's why they have an altered vaccine version for India and for Africa and for China. Remember, China's population is about 1/3 of the world's population. In India and Africa, it's another 1/3 of the world's population. So they're going to try to annihilate those areas. And of course, these are areas rich with minerals and rich with natural resources, and then they're going to try to take that over. So again, become empowered, become prepared, nothing to fear, except for, as Roosevelt said, nothing to fear but fear itself. So don't fear anything, just get ready, all right? Stretch, get ready. That's what you got to do. You got to get ready. And I think with that, I'll see if I can, if there's any questions, and I'll try to address any questions that anybody has. So let's see. Yes, steal the land, country, China's food. Well, okay, I won't be able to actually read these questions because they're coming in so fast. So if I don't address your question, please don't get upset, because just since I started this part in the last 30 seconds, there are so many different comments and questions have come in. So I'm just going to pick one and try to answer it, okay? Be praying. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Be praying. What medicine should we have in hand? I wouldn't have any medicine on hand, okay? Just make sure you have multivitamins, some of the immunogenic type herbs, echinacea, some of the herbals, colloidal silver, if you have that. And that's it. I don't think you need to worry about any medicines. Who's they? All right, that's a great question. Who's they? So we don't know who they is, okay? Sometimes when you hear President Trump, they're talking about China, China, China. Well, I don't think it's a China majority. I think it's maybe the Communist Party. That could be it. But I don't think it's the average citizen in China. So who are they? They are AR-15, the best gun. Yes, I agree with you. I like that AR-15, and I comment myself. Selenium is good too. So guys, I'm sorry that I'm just trying to answer everybody's question, but they are the liberal, socialistic, communistic individuals that believe that everybody should share equally, of course, except for them, because they're going to take all the properties and everything else. But they believe that everybody should be treated equally. They don't believe that if you work harder, you should get to enjoy the fruits of your labor. And there are people that sometimes have argued with me about this, and I've said, look, it's very simple. Go watch the Disney movie A Bug's Life, and you'll understand. When children get it, then you have to understand, because nature will never tolerate something for nothing for very long, all right? It has to be based upon personal effort. If one person, or in the movie, the grasshoppers sat on their ass all year long, and the ants toiled and worked hard, and then when winter came, the grasshoppers would come and steal all the food that the ants had stored, until one day one of the ants stood up, and then they all kicked the grasshoppers' rear end. So it's the same type of thing. If you work hard, then you should reap the rewards. And that doesn't mean that you ignore those that weren't as fortunate, because many times, I can tell you, myself, my friends, many of us that have enjoyed a blessed life, we have been, I don't donate to all these charities. No, because like American Cancer Society, National Cancer Institute, the most profitable nonprofit organizations that's poisoning people. No, I'd much rather give something to somebody that I know, somebody whose family needs it, somebody who I see that's working hard. And that's how I think charity should happen, or how we should help each other. But to try to have everything taken away from those that have it, and it's interesting, the ones that are pushing this agenda, they're actually at the top of the food chain, and they're trying to push this agenda. This is the Zuckerbergs and the Bezos and the George Soros and the Gates and those type of. So I think that's part of they, and then there's other people that are parts of they. David Martin talks about 12 families. Yes, the 12 families, exactly, the original German 12 families. Thank you for those comments. I appreciate that. Please comment briefly on 5G. All right, so there's a thing called the Serenity Prayer. And most of you that have heard me talk about cancer, the immune system, you know that I talk about how important the Serenity Prayer is. It actually, I think, originated in Alcoholics Anonymous. And I want you to listen to this prayer. God, please give me the ability to change the things that I can change, the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, and the wisdom to know the difference. The 5G rollout has already occurred. They've already rolled satellites up there, all right? So whatever harm is going to happen, it's not like we can change that because all those satellites are already up there. What we can do is understand that energy can be positive or negative. So things are either cell resonant or they're not. There are technologies already that can take non-cell resonant energies and transform them into cell resonant energies. All right. So don't worry about 5G. You know, there's many solutions out there. We've had webinars on this. We've got a couple of companies. There's a couple of companies that have good solutions. This is one of the reasons I wear some of these bands that you guys may have seen me wear. All these things will be available to you guys. So anyway, don't be worried about those type of things. Those are not things that you can't pull those things out of the satellites, or you can't pull the 5G satellites out of the sky. I think that there's serious negative potential issues, but there are ways of remediating that. And actually, my plan is in the next 2 to 3 weeks having a webinar. I think we're going to do it on November the 10th. We're going to talk about something that can be done that's going to be very, very economical for people to protect themselves energetically, because there are a lot of negative things being put out right now energetically. All right. All right. Let's see. Embrace natural medicine and ditch drugs. Absolutely. Faith. Faith is a very important thing. But guys, faith doesn't. God only helps those who help themselves. So if you're going to sit back and say, "Faith, I have faith, and nothing's going to happen," that's not how God works. Okay. The Creator gives us ability. He gave us legs to walk. He gave us, a mouth to speak with, ears to hear, and eyes to see with. So we need to take action and prepare. If you have a bear charging you, a rabid bear charging you, and you say, "I have faith that I'm not going to get hurt," and you just stand there and you don't use the God-given tools of your legs to run and your arms to pump and pull yourself up into a tree, then when something happens, you're at fault. It's your fault. It wasn't the Creator. So just remember that. November 4th, Civil War starts. I would hope that that's not true, but part of me also feels that something like that could potentially happen. And again, that's my reason for saying have food, have water, have some supplies, have ammunition, have a couple of weapons. And you know what, guys? If you have a couple of friends and there's some place that you can all be together, that's even better. That's even better. Hopefully it's only going to be for a day or two, and then you have to worry about it. All right? God helps those who help themselves, exactly. At this hour, trust no one. Well, I would say at this hour, trust no one except for your own ability and the Creator. All right? November 4th, what? Yeah, well, November 3rd is the election. That's why they're saying it. October 26th, naturopathic rally in Florida. Excellent. Guys, if you're in Florida, go to that. Check that out. All right, so it's 9:25. I think I've been on for almost an hour. Instagram's going to end up turning me off because they always do this, and I want this to get out on Instagram. So thank you for all those positive comments, guys. Thank you. Appreciate it. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off. I'm going to put this on Instagram. It'll be on YouTube. Guys, please download this video and pass it on to other people because it could get taken down. Also, remember, askdrbuttar.com/ask and download those. Let me see. Can't even see myself now. There we go. Right there. It's kind of hard to do this because I have to imagine where that thing is. So go there and get that information on the vaccines. You need to be empowered with that. And the reason I want you to watch that cancer thing and download those 2 reports is because both reports are going to be good. It's a natural way for you to improve your own immunity. That's what it is. It's just to enhance your immunity and understand why doing those things are going to enhance your immunity. So empower yourselves, and remember, there's nothing to fear but fear itself. So stay positive, just be prepared. Remember the Boy Scout motto, be prepared. All right? I love you guys. I appreciate all your well wishes, all your prayers, all your intention. And I'm here every Monday night at 8:15, between 8:15 and 8:30 p.m. New York time. We'll do the live stream, and then we take a 5-minute break. And so I'm going to say good night, and I'll see you guys next week at the same time, New York time, 8:15 in the evening. For the I-80FW members, give me a couple minutes, and then you know how to get on the I-80FW private broadcast, and I'll see you there in just a few minutes. All right, guys, have a great one. Have a great rest of the week. Good night, and God bless. And Instagram followers, guys, make sure you pass this information on, all right? And in my profile is a link. Just click on that link and it'll take you the very first, when you click on the link, it'll take you to a page and there's multiple different options. Just click on the first thing and it'll take you there, all right? Have a great one, and I will talk to you guys soon. Good night. God bless.